Hello, everyone, and welcome to Flow MSP's webinar today. I'm Joy Ortiz, the marketing manager here at Flow, and today I have Sergeant Zach Haskin here to show us how he saves time at Sikeston Fire Department by completing fire inspections and pre-fire plans in the same workflow. Sergeant Haskin's been in the fire service 16 years, 9 at Sikeston, and he was promoted to sergeant several years ago and also served Sikeston Fire as a certified fire inspector and an investigator. If you have any questions during this webinar, please email us at help@flowmsp.com and we will get those answered for you. You can also request a web demo by visiting www.flowmsp.com/contact-us, and a member of our team will walk you through a personal tour of our program. Let's get started. Sergeant Haskin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, no problem. I been looking forward to doing this for you guys.
Well, I've really been looking forward to your talk too, because one problem we frequently hear fire departments dealing with is a lack of time. So for many departments, call volume is going up and they're really struggling to get everything done, especially those preventative type tasks like pre-fire planning. Have you guys been experiencing any of that at Sikeston?
We do have a little bit of a time crunch on some of these things. It's been, Flow MSP has really been user friendly and made it easier for us to get inspections and pre-planning done at the same time.
Yeah, I was really excited when I heard that you were doing that, because that was the first time I've heard of a department kind of doing those two tasks in the same workflow. So can you kind of tell me a little bit about Sikeston Fire? Like, are you a career department? Can you describe your department a little bit for me?
Sure. So with our department, we're actually a Department of Public Safety. We do both police and fire. That's why it's Sergeant Haskin instead of like lieutenant or captain. We operate off of the patrol side's chain of command. With the department, we have obviously guys that do police, we have guys that do fire, and then they switch back and forth from time to time. I don't switch back and forth. My job is strictly with the fire department as the city fire marshal.
That's great. And how long have you guys had Flow MSP at your department now?
About 2 years.
Okay, so this is not your first encounter here. You're kind of a seasoned Flow user at this point, would you say?
Yep, I really enjoy using it, and it's like I said, to me, it's really great because it's user friendly. You know, I can show any of the guys on the trucks how to use it. I can show almost everybody in the department can learn how to use it, and it doesn't take but maybe 15 minutes worth of actual time.
Sergeant Haskin, you said one of your primary responsibilities at Sikeston Fire is fire inspections. As the fire marshal, that's your job. And I was wondering if you would walk us through your workflow today and just kind of show us how you do the inspections and the pre-plans side by side when you go out to do that.
Sure. So I'm trying to find a building real quick because obviously all the stuff that we've got outlined has not actually been pre-planned. COVID kind of threw me backwards a little bit on that. But when I go up to a building, I start, same way we do with structure fire or anything like that. I start in the front. And I kind of make a 360. As I make my 360 with my inspection, I'm doing the same thing I would with a pre-plan, and I'm just kind of looking for things that may stand out. Looking at like electrical placement, where does the service come into the building? Where can it be shut off? Are there any roof accesses on the outside? Just general hazards, and then things that associate with the inspection itself. So as I'm taking my walk around, I take photos that I can then put into Flow MSP.
So are you using your mobile phone to take those photos, or do you use a camera? Like, what's your process?
It really just depends on what all I'm taking pictures of. Sometimes I can take pictures. I take pictures with my phone. Sometimes I take pictures with my iPad. Um, they work just about the same. There's no real benefit one versus the other than if I use my iPad, it's because I'm already doing a inspection, and my inspection software runs off of my iPad. So therefore, I don't have to sit there and flip flopping back and forth between my iPad and my phone.
Is your department completely paper free now? Do you do everything digitally?
I think so for the most part. Even some of our patrol stuff has gone fairly digital. So as far as the fire department goes, yeah, I'd say the fire department's 100% digital. So this is Rearms. This is a gun store we have in town. Um, when I make my 360 around the building, I always try and take the first picture I take is a picture of the sign for it. If it's a hospital, I take a picture of the hospital sign. If it's a restaurant, take a picture of the restaurant sign, because those are the signs that you're going to notice as a person on the truck. You're not going to think, oh, well, I need to go to 1403 South Main. But if somebody says Rearms, they're like, oh, I know Rearms. So you can pull that picture up, and it gives you a little bit easier way to identify it running down the road. So some of the pictures I take, like I said, when I make my initial 360, I'll start on the A side and I'll work my way around, and then taking pictures of each side. So as I come up to things that are more specific, then I'll take those photos also. So I go back here. I know that on this photo, I drew a line here to show that there's a stairwell on the inside. There wasn't really a label for that to show that, but I wanted my crews to be able to see that there's a stairwell along that exterior wall. So then when I go into the building, which I don't have a lot of pictures on this building on the inside, so we'll look at a different one. So getting into kind of a more a bigger building that we've done a lot of work with, and it's one of our industrial buildings. So we when we go like on the inside, we're looking for like the placement of their alarm panels, placement of electric panels. Starting with this picture right here, this is an exterior picture. And now that I'm looking at it, I missed my side designation, but I can come back and get that later. But I can go inside. I'm looking for electrical boxes, make sure everything's pinned up nicely, make sure that they've got everything's labeled properly. These are some labels that I've put on here from the outside. But these are just things that we're looking at in our inspections. We're looking for flammable liquid storage. So as I'm taking note of where flammable liquid storage is on my inspection, I'll pop a picture of this real quick and then come back and relabel it to show stuff. The Knox box, part of our inspection, we make sure that all new businesses have to have it. Some of our older businesses, like this one specifically, didn't have it. When we went and did the inspection, we made the suggestion to say, hey, would you care to get one? They said, sure. So when we came back and took a picture of it where it was and labeled it. But it kind of fits however if you're doing inspections, It doesn't have to be one specific person doing these inspections. You can have a crew, say they want to go to the local hotel and do some pre-planning on their own. It's really easy for them to come in and just kind of add some pictures to stuff, or they can even take pictures and give them to you, and you can upload them and label them, based on some of the notes that they might give you. Oh, dang it. There we go.
With Flow too, they could be out there with their phone in their Flow app, right? And they could be taking the photos with their phone and putting them right on that pre-plan. And then if you look at that on your desktop back at the station, those pictures will all be in there.
The nice thing about that is so you don't have to give everybody access to it. Everybody can have access to look at everything, but say you want to limit it to just the captains on the truck, that you feel would be more responsible with the photos that they're taking. They'll be able to take the photos, and then they can send you a text message or an email with some notes on some of the pictures that they take, and they can instantly upload those photos while out in the field. They can even put notes on there on the photos themselves. But like I said, the biggest thing I really enjoy about it is going through as I'm doing an inspection. I'll look and see where the things in my inspection are. So like with this hotel, if it pulls up, there we go. There again, I've labeled where the Knox box is. On this side, I don't see any hazards. Too far. But on this side, I've been able to locate the fire department connection and the gas shut off for the building. And those are things that we look at in our inspection. Does this building have a fire department connection? Was it required to have one? If it's not required, then obviously it's not going to be there. And then we can go inside. As we go inside, we're looking for alarm panels, make sure that they're, with the inspection part of it, we're looking to make sure that they're doing their annual testing of their alarm system, not just having a company come in and sign off on it. And then since I'm looking for it, I go ahead and put it on the Flow MSP app that, hey, this is where their annunciator panel is. And then I think I can come up to another building. I can get this to move again.
So Sergeant, as the fire marshal, you wouldn't normally have to take pictures of all this stuff for a fire inspection. You would just walk out and look at it, right?
Right. Yeah. And like I said, it's nice because I can look. I've been able to match it up in my mind. If I'm looking at the electrical panel, I know that the guys on the truck coming into a fire here, or even an alarm call, are going to want to know where the alarm panel is or where the electrical panel is. They're going to want to know where the fire department connection is, and all of this corresponds to the stuff that I'm looking at on an inspection. So it's nice because I'm getting to double up on the duty.
Right. So instead of another crew having to go out and do these pre-plans at a separate time, just while you're already doing your fire inspection, you're taking the photos, you're making the notes, and then you can easily give that information to everybody else by putting it in the Flow app, and then they've got all that right there in their pocket. So when an incident happens, they can tap into that pre-plan and see all of this information right away.
They can, and it really is helpful. I know it did extend my inspection. So like instead of an inspection taking like maybe 25 minutes on a smaller building, it extends it up, about probably 40 minutes, because I'm having to give myself more time to think about what I want to put in Flow MSP, and make sure that I'm getting the right stuff, and making sure that I take notes, because you can go through a big building and take a whole bunch of pictures, and then you forgot why you took a picture of it.
Yeah.
So,
But do you think it would save you time, like rather than making two separate trips, though, it does save time
well,
overall?
absolutely, because the other thing about it is you look at business that already some people don't like being inspected
Mhm.
to begin with. So when you say, "Hey, I'm going to inspect your building, and then I'm going to come back next week and I'm going to do a pre-plan," well, then they don't get they get a little apprehensive sometimes, like, "Oh, you're going to come back twice." Uh, and no, I'm not coming back really twice. I'm coming back for two different reasons. So this kind of helps that where like I said, you can go around, you don't necessarily have to sit and label everything right then and there. You can take your pictures, make a couple notes, and then come back to the desk and sit down and organize everything out and add the stickers that you need to, add the notes that you need to, um, and make everything work a little bit better. But it definitely cuts down on time. It definitely cuts down on having to get out and go to the same place twice. So. No. Um, we we really like this app a lot because we can take and show, we get new people all the time that have never been into some of our larger industrial buildings, and it gives them a little bit of insight as to what's actually in the building and how it's laid out a little bit without them having to actually go to the building and go on a tour.
Do you ever use the app for tabletop exercises or training, anything like that?
We haven't yet. We've talked about it a little bit. I know we've used it for some post-incident stuff. Uh, we've had calls where we've uh, gone to some of our other industrial buildings, and afterwards we talked about, well, hey, uh, would it be worth putting in a note that the second truck in, instead of um, following up behind the engine, go make the fire department connection, and then the third truck on the larger industrial building can help make the water connection.
Right, and those are even notes that you could add to your pre-plan for the next time, right? You learned that, and in that incident response, you could go back and add a picture or a note so that you remember next time.
Yeah, and I'll go back to this hotel real quick. Somehow this hotel got built, and it does not have standpipes in it, but uh, we put in a note that said, "Hey, the Holiday Inn does not have standpipes. So if you have a fire on the second or third floor, it'll require the connection made to the ladder tip. The tip of our ladders, uh, we can take the nozzle off and make a standpipe out of it."
Hmm.
So, and that's a good, like I said, that's a good example of that. Like actually after talking about it, uh, we didn't have a way to make a picture of it, so we put this PDF note in there.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And it's nice because you don't have to have a picture for anything. Like you said, you could do a PDF, or if you had an existing floor plan, you could put that in there and just add notes on top of it, like the symbols and the lines, like you were showing.
Yeah. Um, and it's really nice that you can take like floor plans and put them in there. A lot of places have floor plans already made out. And if you don't have the ability to, say, scan it in as a PDF and then upload it, I found sometimes it's easier just to take, I'm trying to work my way up the road here to a building that has that. Um, it's easy to just take a picture of the floor plan and then you can add stickers to help that out.
Yeah, that looks great. And it's so much more information with the stickers on it, like you said, than just looking at the floor plan by itself.
Right. Yeah. Because most places try and get their uh, floor plans oriented, but from like if you're standing there looking at it, you should be facing north. But if you're not standing in the building looking at it, you don't know. So by being able to put the A, B, C, and D sides on there, it gives you a better idea of where you're standing and where you're looking at stuff.
Did you ever try to put the building name in that search box and just pop it right to the location you want?
No, it didn't occur to me to try that. I guess we can try that let's try this.
Right up at the top left, search a location.
So
Might make your life easier. And then just,
hey, how about you?
hey,
So I do this a lot with the my other desktop that actually has a mouse. So moving around on it's not as difficult as it is this laptop.
oh, I hate that. I had to get a mouse for my laptop because I couldn't stand it.
So this is another building, like I said, I was actually able to take a PDF that they had given me and actually upload it and then put the stickers on there. And then, like I said, I get my walk around the outside of the building. And, some of it I get really in depth on, some of it I don't. It just depends on what all I've got going on that day. If I've got time to spare, then I'll go in and try and get more detail.
And these aren't a static document like a PDF, right? Like these are really easy to come back in and add more stuff to it later.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's really nice because if you put something on there that you don't like, and the way I would do this, so we'll come here and we'll just edit this photo real quick. Say I don't like that A is there. It's really easy to go over here, hit select, pick it up, and move it. If I want to make it bigger so it's easier for somebody to look at, there you go. You have a really big A. Nobody can miss that.
What side is that?
Yeah. So like I said, it's and then say you get to messing with it and you don't like it, you can just hit cancel and it takes it back to the original way it was. But it is very user friendly. I really like the features of being able to go in, especially here on these. I can put where the Knox box is right down here on the A side. I can put that the main electric shutoff is there. If I've got if this is a place where we know we're going to a lot of alarm calls, I can put that I know the actual electrical box inside is in this closet, rather than to have go through every room and try and find the electric box. I guess the biggest issue is I wish I had more people to do this with. Right now, I'm pretty much the only person that will go out and do our pre-plans. So that makes it so that, it doesn't get as detailed or as many buildings get as done. But the good thing is once it's there, it's there. I don't have to go back and redo it every year. Like down here, I'm not going to use the search bar like you just showed me, but I've got a set of buildings right here that I'm actually getting ready to take out because they have tore this building down, and it's really easy to get rid of stuff. You can just delete the location, and lot of places are going to have that. These were older buildings, so they're no longer there. They're actually rebuilding a new building there. They demolished the whole thing and plowed it out, and in the process of building a Plaza Tire.
Well, you're definitely not alone in being a department that has one guy out doing a bunch of pre-plans rather than a whole crew. I mean, Flow has customers of all different shape and size departments, and your bigger career departments, they might have enough coverage to send multiple people out doing this work, but especially smaller departments, you often don't have the men to spare to send them out in the field doing this stuff.
They do. And I've worked for departments where you don't have to be certified as an inspector to go out and do an inspection. Your department inspector can just give you a list of, say, businesses and say, here, look at this list, go into the business. If it's missing it, mark the checkbox. If it's not, don't mark the checkbox. But while you're there, it's very easy for, a crew to divide while one person's doing the inspection. The other part of the crew can go and do the pre-plan, and you could really cut down some time there.
Right. But even if you are just one guy going out and doing it, having this app to do the pre-plan, it speeds up the time so much more than walking around with a measuring wheel and trying to do all that the way we had to do before we had the technology, right?
Yeah. I've got some of the older pre-plans that we have for like the school here in town, and it's a binder of information. And I cannot imagine at any point in time going and grabbing that binder and saying, okay, we're going to a fire at the school, let me grab the binder. It's just not practical. And this makes it extremely practical to be able to go and say, hey, we're going to the school, let's pull up the pre-plan for that. And let's look at some of the stuff that we need to focus on.
Well, Sergeant, I think you've given us a really clear picture of how you're incorporating both the inspection and the pre-planning into your day when you go out to do this work. Did you have anything else you wanted to cover about that?
No, I believe that's it. Like I said, I just really want to reiterate that to me, it's a really user-friendly program. And if you're open-minded about being able to use it, then it's a great benefit.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to show us this today. And I think our listeners are going to walk out of this with some really practical knowledge about how to save time in their own departments based on what you had to share today. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And to all of our listeners out there, if you want to see what Flow MSP can do for your department, reach out to us at www.flowmsp.com/contact us and request a web demo. A member of our team would also be happy to answer your questions and walk you through a personal demo. You can also contact us at help@flowmsp.com. Thanks for joining, everyone. Stay safe.